Okay, a very good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to our SCTA's new members induction and Club Exco induction ceremony. Thank you all for making time to come here for this event. The program sheet is with you. I apologize for the small print of the program sheet, but the details are there, so it's all in the fine print. So basically, in the program, we will have the address by our SCTA Vice President. So SCTA is called the Singapore Ceylon Tamil Association, and they are the organization that have kindly allowed us to have our Toastmasters Club here. So the Vice President will give the address. Then after that, there will be an address by our District 80 Program Quality Director, Mr. Eunchi Chekin, DTM. And then there will be the outgoing President's address by Ms. Edita, followed by, then we will have a speech by Mr. Eric Tan, DTM, on shifting the paradigm of Toastmasters. So after that, we will proceed with the formalities of new members induction and club officers induction ceremony, followed by another two power pack talks on leadership by Mr. James Clifton and Mr. Anand Ariyaranam have come here. So we have a power pack program and we hope to end by 4 o'clock. So let's start and end as soon as possible. Okay. So it gives me great pleasure to now call upon our SCTA Vice President, Mr. Narasimhan.
Good afternoon to our District 80 Director, Distinguished Toastmaster, Mr. Ernest Chan, Division G Director, Mr. Lim Tong Lee, Area G1 Director, Ms. Lakshmini Ravindran, and Division G Trainers, Distinguished Toastmasters, Mr. Eric Tan, Mr. James Clifton, and Mr. Anand, and Mr. Eung Kim, District 80 Program Quality Director. A warm welcome to all our club advisors, distinguished Toastmasters, Mr. K. Raja and Mr. C. Sriram. Our club mentor, President of Cheng San Toastmasters Club, Advanced Communicator Bronze and Advanced Silver Leader Silver, Ms. Lee Che Boy, and to all fellow Toastmasters, and we are very pleased to see all of you today. I was the second president since our club chartering in 2015. The following were our club president. From 2015 to 2016, Mr. Bhupala Mahalingam. From 2016 to 2007, that's myself, E. Narasinghan. From 2017 to 2018, Mr. Loganathan. From 2018 to 2019, Ms. Elita Navaratnam. And now, 2019 to 2020 is Dr. Ravi Kumar Chinaya. Moving forward, in 2020, Ms. Shobika has agreed to be our next president. Could you please kindly stand up, Ms. Shobika? Our achievements are we had been distinguished club, and our club members have taken part in some instances and won the contest. We have many clubs in Katong, however, they are in different divisions and we are hardly get the opportunity to interact with them. Hope the district can see how clubs in the same area are able to interact and support one another in the interest of the Toastmasters. We are thankful to our area directors and divisions for the support they had given us all these years. Today we have an exciting lineup of program where we have distinguished Toastmaster Mr. Eric Tan, along shifting the paradigm of Toastmasters and how pathways can guide you. We have distinguished Toastmasters Mr. James Clifton, who will be talking about building the pillars of self-leadership. And finally, distinguished Toastmaster Mr. Anand, who will talk about how leadership can be mentored. Thank you very much, and once again, a very warm welcome to each and every one. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, SCTA Vice President, for your address. Now, the next lined up is our District 80 Program Quality Director, Distinguished Toastmaster Ng Chia Kim, to give his address.
Mr. Narasingham, Vice President of SCTA, Club President, District Officers, fellow Toastmasters, friends. Good afternoon. The TMD earlier on mentioned about the program, the fonts were too small. I have no problem reading it because I'm still young. But I do have a protest. Now, if you look at the photograph behind, you'll notice that instead of a circle, it is an oval shape. It's flattened. That makes me look fat. Now, next time, if you don't want a circle, you want it oval shape, please put it lengthwise so that I'll look thinner. SCA Toastmasters Club, before I came, I just looked at the DCP results for last year. The club scored 9 out of 10 DCP points. So I thought that's an excellent performance. If you belong to my generation, you will notice that there was one company used to be the leader in producing films for camera. They were a leader for many years, and then later on, that company went bankrupt because nowadays, cameras do not use film anymore. Nowadays, people use digital cameras. About 10 years ago, the mobile phone industry is dominated by one producer. I think 3 or 4 out of 10 mobile phones will use that brand. And they are no longer in existence. Do you know which company is that? And the first one, the film company, is that. Why do these companies disappear? The reason is they don't adapt to change. When technology changes, when the market changes, but they don't change. So they become obsolete. And Toastmasters is the same. Toastmasters was formed in 1924. And at that time, the Toastmasters program is really focusing on public speaking. But today, the needs are different. So today, Toastmasters make changes according to the market requirement. So now we have the Pathway program, which focusing on building leadership skills. But the adoption rate of pathways in Singapore is low. It is lower than the regional average. It is also lower than the world average. Why is that so? Well, there could be many reasons, but I believe one of the reasons is some of the members do not want to embrace change. They still like the old program. Now, the problem is this. If I compare this with a young lady, this young lady has a boyfriend, and she likes the boyfriend very much. But this boy, his parents do an arranged marriage and want him to marry another girl. And he is going to marry that girl on the 1st of July, 2020. Now, what will this... And there's another young man who likes this girl very much, very charming young man. Now, what can this girl do? This girl can compare this young man with that old boyfriend and say, oh, my old boyfriend is a lot better. My old boyfriend is this, my old boyfriend is that. Now, is this girl going to end up happy? No. Because the fact is, this old boyfriend will be gone by 1st July 2020. He's going to marry someone else. He's going to be gone. And I think what this girl needs to do is to recognize the strength of this new boyfriend. Try to accept this new boyfriend and work with this new boyfriend. I think there's a much better chance that two of them can live happily ever after. But if this girl keep thinking of the old boyfriend and not going to be close to the new boyfriend, this girl is likely going to suffer. And this old boyfriend is the old Toastmasters program, and the new boyfriend is the pathways, and this young lady is all of us. So if we don't give up, if we don't accept the fact that the old program will be ended on the 31st June 2020, and the new program, the pathways, will be the only program available, if we members still like to cling on to the old program and not adopting the new pathway program, then you're going to end up like that girl. Probably never get married. So my friends, the adoption rate of pathways in SCT is very good. It's 87.5%. But the total average of the district is not that good. So I suggest that if you are not a member of this club, a member of other clubs, please tell your members that their old boyfriend is going to get married on the 1st July, and it will no longer be available. Face the fact. And this new boyfriend, the pathways is the way to go. Back to you, Toastmaster.
Thank you. Thank you. Okay, so it's time to find your new boyfriend. And now, the next is, next we have a talk by distinguished Toastmaster, Mr. Eric Tan. He's going to talk about shifting the paradigm of Toastmasters. So, okay, I think maybe there's one item before that. Yeah, the outgoing president's address. Okay, so let's welcome distinguished Toastmaster, Miss Ilita Navaratnam.
Thank you very much. Good afternoon to our distinguished Toastmasters and our guests. Thank you so much for coming for this induction ceremony. We had our District 80 Program Quality Director, Mr. Ng Che Kim, distinguished Toastmaster, who mentioned that he had a little protest with his picture. If you turn behind of the program sheet, I have a little protest myself. The incoming president for 2018-2019 was female. The outgoing president is male. So, my name is Miss Ilita Navaratnam, not Mr. Thank you very much. So, I'll have to figure out what happened in between. Okay, so I just want to say at this point, I'm not going to speak for 5 to 7 minutes. I'm just going to say I'm very blessed, I guess, to have been a part of Toastmasters so far, probably about 3 years now. And it's been a very wonderful journey because, first off, I came in as a non-confident speaker, unable to face the world in terms of speaking or like impromptu speaking. If someone asked me something, I wouldn't be able to think of an answer. So when I came into Toastmasters, it was quite a good, wonderful journey as well because we started with the old program, and it was very specific. It was very organized in that way, where you had speech 1, speech 2, and chronologically the level of difficulty went up. And for me, it was such a great tool to use to improve my public speaking skills to where I am now today. So for that, I'd just like to say thank you to all of you for helping me out, either with evaluations, with coordinations of events, and even just helping me out in every other way that possible that we would need help in organizing a Toastmasters chapter meeting. So even as VPE as well, in 2017 and 2018, I built up a lot of my skills in administration and organization and events. So again, it's something I had never thought I would do or never thought I would ever become good at, but here I am today saying that I have at least some skill in it. So once again, just my gratitude to Toastmasters. And finally, for our outgoing president, I just want to say it might have, this journey in this 1 year will have its ups and downs. Many of the clubs now are always facing this one problem of recruiting members and maintaining them or sustaining them. So I think this is something that we can actually, I suppose, create new methods of retaining members and ensuring that they are interested and that their goals are also met. Not just as a club, but individual goals as well. So to all the new members and to all the incoming EXCO, let's try to take care of our members as well. And I just wish you all the best. And thank you to my previous team as well. Thank you very much.
Okay, next on the program is the Shifting the Paradigm of Toastmasters. So it gives me great pleasure to call upon distinguished Toastmaster, Mr. Eric Tan.
All right, splendid Saturday afternoon, one and all. My name is Eric. It's a pleasure for me to be here. Thank you for inviting me. I had the pleasure and the privilege to serve as SCTA's division director 2 terms back. And back then, when I look at SCTA, I thought it's one of the highly potential clubs to get, President Distinguished status year after year. And truth be told, I'm right. You guys have done remarkably well, so you deserve another round of applause for yourself. Well done. So when I got the email and they asked me, what are you going to talk about? I had no clue, in fact. But recently, I just acquired my DTM title, so I thought I would just share with you my experience of what it means to me now as a distinguished Toastmaster. And I would encourage every single one of you who are members of SCTA and members of Toastmasters to aim and to achieve distinguished Toastmasters. I look at it as a person preparing to embark on taking a bachelor or a master's degree. When I went back to my club and I saw my new member and saw a potential guest, and I asked them, why are you here? Why do you want to join Toastmasters? And most of them will tell me, oh, I want to improve on my public speaking, right? Just like what you said. Normally, in the past, before I was a DTM, I would just leave it as that. And okay, welcome. But now after I acquired DTM, I will follow up with a question is, why? Why do you want to improve on your public speaking? Why does it matter so much to you? Which aspects of it are you looking to improve? In public speaking, we have different, right? For example, our content, our delivery, our language. So which aspect of it do you want to improve on? And truth be told, they were dumbfounded. They couldn't answer me. It happens to all of us. Even when I first joined, I had no clue. All right? But the fact of the matter is, that is where I begin to tell them to look at Distinguished Toastmaster as the end goal. Not just improving. You will improve along the way. In every course or every journey that you embark on, you will improve in a certain manner. But when you look at Distinguished Toastmaster as your end goal, as the degree that you want to achieve, just like when you guys go into university or polytechnics, your aim is to get a degree, right? So that at the end of the day, when you come out to society, you can get a job, get a good lifestyle, all that. Similarly here, what we are looking at is you are looking at getting a degree in communication and leadership skills. So why do I say that it's a paradigm shift? It's because when you are able to do that, you'll find that along the way, everything else becomes a process. I have to do appointment holder. I have to be a timer. Oh, that's just a process of me getting a distinguished Toastmaster. I have to be an area director. Oh, that's just a process. Think about it. Let's look at it let's look at this analogy. Follow me for a while. If I were to go into NTU or NUS in Singapore, I have to go through a 4 years curriculum, right? Before I get my degree. So the first year, they will have one module. Second year, another module. Third year, what do? They will assign you out for attachment. To apply, try to apply what you learn. And fourth year, they will round up everything that you have learned for the past few years. Similarly, in Toastmasters, we say that for one pathway, it takes about 18 months. If you are eager, you can visit other clubs, you can shorten that process. So you can do it within 4 to 5 years to achieve your distinguished Toastmasters status. Now, the key thing is this. Why is it important to become a DTM? Why? When you join the club, when people tell you, oh, I want to be a DTM, why is it so important? It's because you invested your time and your money here in this institution, we call it. And at the end of the day, what is the matrix that we can look at to determine that you have learned a skill set that you can easily apply in your profession and in your day-to-day lives? And this curriculum is leadership and communication. That's what we are looking at. Yeah. So I always tell them, if you are here, make the most of it, learn all the modules, take up 2 pathways, consider them as a module, take up leadership role, and learn to apply what you have learned from the modules. At the end, your end goal will be distinguished Toastmaster, being a distinguished Toastmaster. That is the key. That is the degree that you are going to hold. And the beautiful thing about it is that, like what you have just mentioned, every skill set that we learn in this club or in the Toastmasters International, it can be applied to your profession, it can be applied to your day-to-day work, or even to your family. Now, that brings me back to the second part of paradigm shift of you mentioned about membership recruitment, retention. Why is it that every club feels that there is a struggle for membership recruitment? Why is it many clubs feel that there's a struggle in membership retention? Now, I observe this from a different viewpoint now, is the sense that, yes, we probably lack a skill set of selling our club. But I look at it in the sense that we probably also lack the skill set of promoting ourselves. In the fact that, what have you learned? Give a show of hand. How many of you SCTA members here are more than, let's say, 3 years in this club? More than 3 years? More than 5 years? One. How about less than 3 years? Less than 3 years. All you guys less than 3 years? 1 year? 2 years? 2 years. 1 year. Okay. So when you are here, for those of you who are here, you are here in 1 year, you take out the module, right? Now the key question is, have you started applying what you have learned from the club? Have you started applying? You see, the scenario goes like this. I apply what I've learned in terms of communication. So there's an opportunity in presentation in my office. So I grab it, I present it with confidence, and my colleagues start to ask me, hey, Eric, you did well. You did well just now. How do you do that? How can you be so confident? What do you think my reply will be? You know what? Join SCTA Toastmasters Club. This is a place that helped me be confident. Why not you join me for 1 day? Just come and take a look. Can you all do that? Is that easy? That's how you promote. So Toastmasters is about, number one, seizing the opportunity. When you recognize opportunity in your profession, are you able to seize it? Where do we learn seizing the opportunity in Toastmasters? Let me test you. Which segment of it is about seizing the opportunity? Thank you. Table topics, exactly. People volunteer, right? I want to speak. That's why you know you are seizing the opportunity. Yeah. And then how do you promote? You put on social media, right? You're presenting to a group of people, isn't it? And people will start asking you, wow, what's that all about? You know, James, you talk to 100 people. What is that all about? Can you share more with me? And that's why you promote. You know, Toastmasters have helped me. SCTA Toastmasters Club have helped me in this journey. Okay? And if you want to know more about this journey, come to the club. And how do we sell the club? We sell the club by saying that the end goal will always be Distinguished Toastmaster. Because it's not because we are Distinguished Toastmaster, therefore we are leaders. But it's because we are leaders, that's why we are Distinguished Toastmaster. Okay? So the idea will still be, if you want to improve on your communication, have that aim of becoming a Distinguished Toastmaster. If you want to improve on your leadership skills, have that aim to become a Distinguished Toastmaster. Because at the end of the day, when you attain Distinguished Toastmaster status, you will realize that it is just the beginning. Just like Muhammad Ali says, when he was training, he says, I only start counting when he was doing sit-up. He said, I only start counting when it feels hurt, when I feel the pain. Then I start to count 1, 2, 3, 4, and keep pushing myself. It's the same here. When you become a Distinguished Toastmaster, that's where the journey begins. It's not the end. We will test ourselves how we can give back, how we can elevate. I'm still learning. All of us Distinguished Toastmasters, we are all learning. Okay? So, have the paradigm shift. Instead of coming here thinking that you're going to improve on your public speaking, think of it as improving yourself as a leader and aim for that Distinguished Toastmaster. And before I end, I'd just like to share with you, I've completed 2 paths, Dynamic Leadership Pathway and Persuasive Influence Pathway. And you know the interesting thing that I noticed? In Dynamic Leadership Pathway that I embarked on, after I completed, I realized that all the curriculums, all the projects that I've done, it's not about leadership, it's about communication. In Persuasive Influence, where I thought that I'll learn a lot about communication, in fact, all the projects is about leadership. So it stems one statement that I learned a long time ago from my mentor, Distinguished Toastmaster Wikite. To be a good leader, you need to be a good communicator. Okay? So that is why we are all here today, why we invest our time here today. And Manoj, our world champion, once said this. He says that if you were to go outside and embark on a course, you probably have to spend, thousands, $10,000s of dollars for a week course? Think of the investment you put here. It's only a fraction of it. But the curriculum that you receive, the skill set that you receive, it will be much, much more. So with that, I wish SCTA all the very best in this new term, and congratulations to your success. Back to you, Toastmaster of the Day.
Okay, so now we've come to the introduction to the new members induction and EXCO installation ceremony. So we'll start off with the EXCO installation. So it gives me great pleasure to now call upon Area G1 Director, Ms. Loshini Ravindran, to conduct the EXCO installation.
A splendid Saturday afternoon to all of you. Before I go any further, I must say that it has been nearly more than a year since I visited SCTA as a Toastmaster member, and here as serendipitous as it can be, I'm back here as an area director, and it makes me feel really happy to have the honor of conducting today's installation ceremony. I think it's rather chaotic to immediately start off this. Segment right after all this inspiring sharing by our fellow Toastmasters. So without any further ado, I would like to move on to this event. President Elita Navaratnam, on behalf of District 80, the Toastmasters community, and all members of SCTA TMC, I thank you and your officers for having discharged your duties as club officers for the term 2018 to 2019 to the best of your collective abilities. I request everyone in this room to give a round of applause for a job well done. And as you guys have been waiting for, just kidding. I'm happy to say that you are hereby discharged. Thank you. I'm here this afternoon to install the Executive Committee of SCTA Toastmasters Club for the term 2019 to 2020. May I now invite the following Toastmasters to please come forward. Ms. Komi Rajdev. Mr. N. Ilayathambi. Mr. Mayappan Venkadachalam, Ms. Mamta Ganeriwala, and Sabrina Devendran, Ms. Shobikar Mahendran, I think she's, oh, sure. And last but not least, Mr. Ravi Kumar Chinnaya. May I also invite our immediate past president to join us here? Ms. Elita, please. Thank you. I think we'll just wait for a while for Ms. Shobika to come. But in the meantime, I'll just read out the rest. Their collective challenge is to make this club even stronger by providing a mutually supportive and positive learning environment, to provide every member the opportunity to develop communication and leadership skills through the Toastmasters program, to instill in its members self-confidence and a desire for personal growth through the Toastmasters program, to enable them to speak in an effective manner, to listen with sensitivity, and to think creatively. I will ask each individual officer to step forward and hold this gavel as a symbol of leadership as I briefly describe the challenges he or she must meet and the responsibilities he or she must discharge. Right now, we have our VPE, Shobika, who's going to get the gavel. So, but in the meantime, I'll just read out what are the expectations of the Sergeant-at-Arms first. I hope she comes by then. If not, it's all right. Toastmaster Komi Rajdev, having been elected as the Sergeant-at-Arms of SCTA Toastmasters Club, your goals and responsibilities are to serve as master host and make the necessary logistical arrangements for all club meetings, work closely with your Vice Presidents of Public Relations and Membership to ensure that members and guests are comfortable and made to feel welcome during club meetings. To see to the proper and orderly conduct of the meetings by seeing to the meeting room layout, provision of materials and equipment such as ballot slips, tallying votes, and maintaining club property between meetings. Sergeant-at-Arms Toastmaster Komi Rajdev, will you do these duties to the best of your ability? Thank you. Toastmaster and Ilaya Thambi, having been elected as the treasurer of SCTA Toastmasters Club, your goals and responsibilities are as follows: to see to the development and execution of financial controls, procedures and audits, receive and disperse of funds in payment of all obligations, develop and recommend a budget to the executive committee, notify members of dues payable and see to the collection of dues. Work closely with your Vice President of Membership and the Secretary to ensure membership reports and dues are submitted in timely fashion to World Headquarters. Treasurer, Toastmaster and Ilaya Thambi, will you perform these duties to the best of your ability?
Yes, I will.
Thank you. Vice President of Public Relations, Toastmaster Mamta Ganeriwala, having been elected as the Vice President of Public Relations of SCTA Toastmasters Club, your goals and responsibilities are as follows: develop, implement, and administer a program that upholds a positive image of Toastmasters for all members, guests, and the general public. You are in charge of internal and external public relations for the club, including but not limited to preparing and distributing news releases regarding club activities. This would also involve publicizing club events, working with your club officers to develop literature about the club, and maintaining the club webpage, if any, to work with the Sergeant-at-Arms and Secretary to maintain an effective program of internal club communications. Vice President of Public Relations, Toastmaster Mamta Ganeriwala, will you perform these duties to the best of your ability? Thank you. Toastmaster Ravi Kumar Chinnaya, having been elected to the office of President of SCTA Toastmasters Club, you are the Chief Executive. You are the Chief Executive Officer and will be expected to preside over all club meetings and at all regular and special meetings of your Executive Committee. It is your challenge to see that this club enables its members to achieve their educational goals. It is also your challenge to see that your club helps the area, division, district, and Toastmasters International to meet their goals. Please accept this appointment of your duty as president as a symbol of your leadership and dedication to office. The gavel is a symbol of power and authority given to you by the members of this club. Remember to use it wisely and with restraint. You are not only a member of your team, but also their leader. A team is more than a collection of people. It is an emotional force rooted in the feelings, thoughts, and actions of all members with a common goal of achievement, sharing, and mutual support. Work with your team members to create a healthy and dynamic club, a club which everyone can be proud of. Toastmaster Chennaiya, will you, as president of SCTA Toastmasters Club, accept this challenge and perform your duties to the best of your ability?
Indeed, I will.
Thank you. Let's give them a round. Once again, I would like to invite our immediate past president to take a picture with our current president. Yeah, as you pass over the baton. Right now, we have one more club officer who just returned back, so we will also ask her to take her pledge. Can I have Shobika to come here, please? Toastmaster Shobika Mahindran, having been elected as Vice President of Education for SCTA Toastmasters Club, your goals and responsibilities are to plan successful club meetings so that each member has the opportunity to achieve his or her educational goals, to plan, organize, and implement communication and leadership, speechcraft, and other educational programs, to schedule members' project speeches and appoint meeting officers, to update members' progress charts and report education program completions promptly to World Headquarters, recognize members' achievements, ensure that each new member is properly inducted and receives orientation to the Toastmasters educational program. A mentor is appointed to each new member. Vice President of Education, Toastmaster Shobika Mahindran, will you perform these duties to the best of your ability?
Yes, I will.
Thank you. With that, will all Toastmasters in this room please stand? The growth and development of the Toastmasters program in SCTA Toastmasters Club depends largely on the actions of this group. On your honor, members of Toastmasters International, do you, ladies and gentlemen, pledge to individually and collectively stand by this club, live with it and work with it throughout the rest of the term? Thank you so much. Please take your seat. Let us once again give a round of applause. With that, may I have all the club officers to return to your seats except for our president, as we would be having your speech to address the meeting.
Thank you very much. Good evening. I address you all as my brothers and sisters of an organization that's actually more to do with fraternity. It is a beautiful feeling to harbor, especially when we know that we are together more for cooperation than competition. And Toastmasters has, for a long time already, been world famous for this not only concept but also practice. As we grow, we keep learning and even unlearning, especially because of certain stereotypes and prejudices. For this, I like to point out something. I've studied at what is supposed to be Singapore's top school, Raffles Institution, but most people on the other side see only one side of the institution, that it has long been Singapore's top institution. However, one of the biggest mistakes is that most Rafflesians and ex-Rafflesians get too arrogant and don't want to learn and unlearn. And that's why you see many mistakes being committed by people like that. I'm not embarrassed, I have to mention it clearly. But one thing is that with Toastmasters, you can put aside all this and learn from scratch. I was a diplomat assisting the UN, And let me tell you, even at that level, depending on the Secretaries General, Toastmasters has been one of the main institutions that the UN has plugged into and even recognized. How many world leaders have actually plugged into the system? And let us not get too carried away with high titles. There have been many others, unsung heroes and heroines who have benefited from this system. So I feel most humble that by taking up this role, there is more for me to learn, and during the learning process, to help as many others as possible get to become and be the best that he or she can become and be. Thank you very much. I am indeed humbled, and I must repeat this. May I hand this, the microphone over to our Toastmaster of the day. Thank you.
So thank you, Dr. Ravi, for your speech. Next, we have the new members induction ceremony. So let me call upon our club mentor, Ms. Lee Chebue, to come up to conduct this. Thank you. So I would also like to call upon all the new members. Please come up.
Good afternoon, everyone. It's now time for us to induct the new members into SCTA Toastmasters Club. This is an important occasion, both for these new members and for SCTA Club. The individuals have come to Toastmasters seeking to improve their communication and leadership skills, and we now have the opportunity to help them learn and achieve. I will now call upon the new members and ask them to join. Okay, they are at the lectern. Sorry, I'm reading off. You see that I'm the one who got out of my comfort zone to do this speech. I'm not the one who is supposed to do this. Each of these new members, you repeat after me because we have not prepared the induction script for you. You repeat, you are joining, I'll just repeat this, sorry. You are joining a worldwide organization that has helped more than 4 million people to communicate more effectively. As members of SCTA Toastmasters Club, you will benefit from a proven program of self-development. You will become part of our outstanding group of people who are dedicated to helping one another in the spirit of sharing and enjoyment. Madam Vice President Education, these mentees have been assigned their mentors. I hope, or you will be something that you will find mentors for these new members. Yeah, okay. So, yeah, approach her to get you individual mentors. You just follow me from here. You read your name, then in the presence of my fellow Toastmasters of SCTA Toastmasters Club. You read after me. Your name, in the presence of my fellow Toastmasters of the SCTA Toastmasters Club, make this firm obligation to attend meetings regularly and prepare fully for each assignment, to apply myself to the projects outlined in the Toastmasters education program, to participate actively in club activities, to evaluate others in a positive, constructive manner, to build open, friendly relationships with my fellow members, and to bring other new members into the club so that they can also gain the benefits of Toastmasters. Good. Would all members of SCTA Toastmasters Club and as well all Toastmasters please stand? Repeat after me as well. We, the members of the SCTA Toastmasters Club, pledge to support you in your quest for self-development, to provide you with positive, helpful evaluations, to maintain a friendly, supportive atmosphere, to give you opportunities to help others, and make your Toastmasters membership a rewarding and fulfilling experience. Thank you. Thank you. That's all I have. Thank you. Thank you all.
Thank you, Chebe, for taking on the last-minute request to induct our new members into the Toastmasters faculty. So now I would like to invite our club president to come on stage, and together with our program quality director. So we're going to recognize the pillars of our club. So we will call upon, this is not really a certificate of appreciation, but because we don't have a certificate of appreciation, but more of a handshake and a photo taking. So let's call upon our club advisors, Mr. Narasingham Iliyatambi and Mr. K. Raj, to come up on stage for photo taking. Our club mentor, Ms. Lee Chebe, who has been supporting our club for some time. She's also the president of Cheng San Toastmasters Club, and Cheng San Toastmasters Club is also the sponsoring club for SCTA Toastmasters Club. So without further ado, let me invite the next speaker who's going to talk about building the pillars of self-leadership, distinguished Toastmaster, Mr. James Clifton.
Yes, thank you very much. Mic check, 1, 2. Hi, fabulous afternoon. How are you guys? Good, yeah. You know, what started out as a very irritating, hot, scorching Saturday actually has become a very nice, comfortable, family feel to today's event. So for that, I would like to thank everyone who had organized this event. Thank you very much. Can we give them a round of applause, please? Really, well deserved. You know, today I was supposed to talk about pillars of self-leadership. How many of you feel you are or you can be leaders? Hey, nobody. This row, by right, should put up hand already very fast. This row, very quiet. Thank you, sir. There's one. You know, I grew up believing that being a leader meant having power, having strength. That was the only thing that mattered. You see, at the age of 3, I got bullied a lot. Some of my friends know, I got bullied a lot. Until one day, I decided I would take that power and be a leader. What did I do? Do you know what I did? Very close. I took some money, I paid some older boys in the playground to beat up some kids. All right? You know how old I was? You see, my time was very different from the younger generation. I don't know whether my parents, grandparents cared or not, but they knew we would go out and come back in the evening. We were safe. Nowadays it's a bit different. So we were allowed to go. We were allowed to face the battlefield, the huge playground, and people would not let me go on the slide. They would not let me go on the swing. Because small boy, no need, you go play in the sand. And they made me eat sand. The first day I went to cry to my grandfather. He was my primary caregiver from the age of about 2 up till about 10. All right? And I told him, they bullied me. I spoke to him in Tamil, right? They bullied me. And he looked at me. So what did you do? I don't know. And he said, never mind. I will buy chicken rice for you. And that was how he solved my problem. But going to that playground, I realized I didn't know what to do. So what did I do? Pay money. That's the only thing I knew. Every day I had some little money because my grandfather says a growing boy needs to eat sweets. So 10 cent, 20 cent, I go buy sweets, I come. I paid them, I solved my problem. Now this was my life up to the age of 15, 16. All right, I learned stuff. I learned to be a true leader. Now, to make a long story short, there was an incident in my life that changed that process. A very dear friend of mine passed away due to a fight. And I asked myself, hey, I'm a leader. How could this have happened? Why? It's not right. Through a lot of processes, I realized there's more to being a leader than just having power. So today I'm going to be sharing with you some things which I hope can help us in our daily life to become better, to become stronger, to become the leader that we have always seen ourselves to be, but perhaps a little bit shy to take that plunge. Now, my club is Nee Soon East Toastmasters Club. I'm very proud to say that in a recent Facebook post, apparently, among the international clubs, we were in the top 20, joint top 20. We're very proud of that. Thank you so much. Now, what was that top 20 for? In terms of hitting the required number of DCP points, our club managed to get 44 different points, not points, but different pathway levels and so on. And our ratio was every member had at least 2 things they declared that year. Now, I was president for that year. Now, you can imagine the pride we had as a group on how we achieved it. But in actual fact, I'm going to talk to you about accountability, because as leaders, we can have vision. But if we do not act on those vision, it is pointless. When we always start the year, we always have these dreams of aspiration. Let's be powerful. Let's be the best. But over time, life happens. Now, this is where, as individual leaders, not just the EXCO, not just the president, not just our senior district officers, each and every one of us must have that vision to say, look, I may be tired, but I am accountable for my friends as well as my own personal growth. And this was what we did at Nee Soon East. It's not easy. We had about 45 members, out of which active was about 28 to 30. The rest were the inactive ones that came once in a while or didn't come at all. How did we get that spirit of growth? You see, I had a wonderful team. I made them accountable for everything. You can ask my mentor, Anand. I'm sure he received a lot of complaints from my EXCO members. You know, wow, this Clifton, every time pushing me to do this, telling me that this is not the way, what is the process? And my favorite question is, why? Why are you doing this? Like what my other mentor said, Eric, you know, what do you want to be? Why? Why are we doing this? What is the purpose? Is it just to be the best? Then do we need to do it? When we started asking those questions, why? It transcended from my EXCO members to the rest of our members in the club. Look, what do you hope to achieve by the end of this term? Apparently, a lot of our members hadn't thought about it. They enjoyed the familiarity, they enjoyed the spirit, but they didn't know what they needed to do to achieve what they had planned for. So we held them accountable. We had, okay, I didn't show it to my members, but what we did was, we had our EXCO members to lay out a chart. Each member, what was their target? And we sent it to them personally, and we also kept one master list. Now, me, being a first-time president, you know what was my main requirement? It doesn't matter what they do. By the end of the term, at least finish 1 level. 1 level. Now, it may sound strange. 1 level actually very easy to complete. But why? Well, as I said, life comes in the way. There will always be things that will happen. But how do we ensure that we have that target? Just finish that 1 level. Now, in our club, even though the target was 1 level, because we told them 1 level, I had those come and question me, you think I can only do 1 level, is it? Now, some of you may see it as a challenge, but to me, that was a good thing. Because the moment you start being accountable for your own learning, you will grow. Asking why makes you grow. We both could have the same number of years of experience. I've been in Toastmasters for about 3.5 years, right? We both could have the same experiences, but what we get out of it depends on us. How much ownership depends on us. So when we are accountable, never ever forget that no one is in charge of us. We are our own leaders. All right? So being accountable is so important. The next one, something that I had a challenge with, respect. Now, as I said, as a young child, only wait for power, strength. Don't show weakness. So as a Toastmaster, my initial few months, I really started grilling my EXCO members. Hey guys, you're doing this? Why? But it was a bit aggressive. They also told me aggressive. And you know what I said? I don't care. I want the job done. Now, they got the job done because they are an amazing bunch of individuals. But they also gave me that one-to-one which I requested. See, my take is, if you really believe in your growth, speak to your EXCO members. Be involved. Find your own value and say, look, I want to speak to an EXCO member. How am I going to grow? Do not wait for your EXCO member to come to you. Because your EXCO member has a lot of larger things in process to build you up. But you, in charge of your own leadership, can go speak to them and say, look, I recognize you are an EXCO member. Even if you have less years in terms of age, you have more experience in terms of the macro level teachings that you have. So why don't you share with me what I can do? Be open about it. Nobody is a master of knowledge, but together we can master knowledge. Right? Nobody is a master of knowledge, but together we can master knowledge. Because it is the way we apply it. And when we start applying it and saying, look, I respect myself enough to know I can grow, just need to be a bit vulnerable and open my heart to people to let them come in and share with me. Now, in Singapore, I know, very difficult. All right, the moment you go ask for help, you are recognized as, it's a 4-letter word, starts with W. Weak. In Singapore, that's quite a bad word, no? It's not very weak. Ask for help every time on. There is no weakness in asking for help. There is weakness when you don't ask for help. This is something that everyone recognizes, but are afraid to say. If you truly believe that you have grown up without help, raise your hand now. Anyone? If there is anyone, I bow down to you right now, because it is impossible. From the time of birth, from the time you are in your mother's womb, we are already requiring help. Yet, we are the most powerful communicators when we are babies. But as we grow older, what happens? We learn to have our own voice. And by having our own voice, we feel this is the only voice that matters. At Toastmasters, amazing humility in all our leaders. I can tell you that in most of our leaders, there is a sense of humility. If not, they cannot be a leader. Because to be a leader, thank you. To be a leader, you need to recognize that people are there for you and you are there for them. The next one, let's talk about responsibility. We talked about vision a little bit. Let's talk about responsibility. I have had a lot of dreams when I was young. At the age of 7, I told myself, by the time I'm 20, I'm going to head a gang in Singapore. I'm going to be the one in charge. I'm going to make sure we commit crime. I'm going to make sure I'm rich. By age 15, I realized, death comes first. And I need to be a good boy. Because I love my parents, I love my family. And they cannot see me this way. So, how responsible are you going to be for your learning? Are you going to wait for your EXCO member or for your VPE? VPE, where are you? Where's your VPE? VPE? Are you going to wait for your dear VPE to come to you and say, hey, can you please do a speech? I said, no, this week I'm a bit busy. We'll see how in a few months. Now, that is being irresponsible, my friends. Find and charter your own path. It's so apt, pathway. Charter your own path. The moment you charter your own path, you will realize that things come into place. Right now, I'm so proud to say that my own club is in the top 20 in the world. Why? I'm really crowing about it. Why? Because none of it was my effort. Really. All I did was just poke people. But they believed in it and they moved forward. And if the members didn't believe in it, we would not move forward. There is a little title we have in our own club that was given to us by Cheng San. All right, Sean Au. It started with him and it spread. Our club is in the north. And apologies to all those who are in the north, but our club was in the north and it has been heralded by our own division directors and so on as the king of the north. Not because of the number of members we have, no. But the amount of value we bring to our members and the amount of value the members bring into the club. any guest that comes in, all right, we had a record last year, I remember. Every time we had 4 guests, 3 converted to become members. Because they love the atmosphere, they love the fact that we gave them the responsibility to be in charge. All we did was to give them mentors. We didn't do anything else. We charted everything for them. We went in. Why? Because we believed in them. Now, finally, the last one, which I think is the most important. It's also, I think, a buzzword right now. The forms of leadership. Servants' leadership. What is servants' leadership to you? Is it bending down backwards as much as you can to give as much as you can give? Is it? Hello? What do you think? Huh? It's serving others. Do you know inherently as a people, especially in the Indian community, if you serve, you are king. Because the person who serves shows gratitude, shows love. Who is the greatest servant leader that we have in our own lives? A lot of times they will say it's the mom. A lot of times they would say it might be an auntie, a grandmother. Don't know why the males don't seem to get any of this. We don't know, okay? We serve as much as we can, but we all still got a bit of pride. Huh? But mothers are selfless. Now, in our own club, are we selfless enough to help others become better? It's not just about ourselves, it's a community. When was the last time you spoke to a fellow member, not exco, spoke to a fellow member and said, hey, have you spoken yet? Are you doing any duty? Shall we do this together? Because I'm scared. Show some vulnerability. Feel that strength. Now, in my own club, we have been doing that for the past 2 to 3 years. Because I was there for the past 2 to 3 years. Before that, I'm not sure, must ask Anand, But before, we started doing that. And the culture now is, our own members are asking each other, hey, next week there's a meeting. Shall we do this together? Wow, that spirit of doing it together is amazing, because rarely do we have an opportunity where ordinary members say, let's go and speak. It's a challenge, because life as new members is always, I've got other things to do, I'm too busy. But then we forget, when we start investing in something that develops us, if it's cheap, I use the word cheap for lack of a better word, we feel, not worth it, I can afford to lose it. But then if it's a $2,000, $3,000, $10,000 thing, we say, no, I paid so much, I must go. Forgetting that the value is almost similar. But this has more value for you because you don't pay as much. You have people who want to see us grow as a whole. So my friends, today I talked about the 4 pillars, but there was one more pillar which I didn't actually say forthright, which I feel that is very strong in this club. All right, I've known some of the leaders here for some time. I've known Ilya for some time, and one of the most amazing thing is being a mentor. Mentorship, my friends, is something beautiful because they don't need to do it, but they're doing it because they want to see their own friends and family grow together with them. We are not the epitome of knowledge, but together we can be the epitome of friendship and growth. All right? With that, I want to thank you for listening to me. If you have any questions on how you can develop better, you've got an amazing EXCO team. You have a senior district officer here. You have your president here. There's so many amazing leaders here. And if you feel shy, no, I don't know how to tell, trust me, just go to them and say, I need help. I guarantee each and everyone will stand up and say, what can I do for you? So till the time when you can do it as well, enjoy this process. All right, with that, thank you very much. I'll hand over to the Toastmaster of the district.
Thank you. Thank you very much, James, for that inspirational speech. I think it got all our attentions, and we definitely learned something from it and how we can grow as a club. So next, we have nurture versus nature. So we have distinguished Toastmaster, Mr. Anand, to talk about this. Thank you.
Splendid afternoon, everyone. There was a story I heard a couple of months ago. It's about a story of twin brothers whose father was alcoholic. One boy grew up to be a successful, rich businessman. The other, a destitute and an alcoholic. So when you ask both of them, what made you be the person you are today? And they will give you the same answer. My father was an alcoholic. Twin brothers. So why is it so different? Same process, same family, same father, but the outcome is totally different. Was it in their genes, or was it experience that made them who they are today? Nature versus nurture. Good afternoon, SCTA Vice President, District Officers, and Joachim, past and present presidents of SCTA, and to all Toastmasters here. I just came back from a trip from Tasmania. In the northern part of Tasmania, there's this small town with a population of only about 500 people. And it is known for their other inhabitants. Small creatures, about 1 feet high, they will come from the sea every night. So I and my wife, we were eager to find out what it was. We went to see that. And we found out that these creatures are called fairy penguins, the smallest penguins in the world. How they come up to the sea is very interesting. They will first, 2 or 3 will just pop up from the sea. They will stand in one corner, start oiling their feathers, start cleaning up the feathers, drying it up after one whole day in the sea, and they will wait, and some more waiting. After a while, they will start squawking, and you can see another group of penguins all start coming up. So I told the guide, wow, even penguins got leadership also. Where do they get this from? Is it a natural thing for them to have? So the question to ask is leadership a natural born thing? Like what my fellow penguins showed me that day. If you look at history, rarely was there a leader that was born a leader. They were all nurtured. Let me give you an example. Steve Jobs, his mentor was Mark Kula, who was an angel investor when Apple was in its early infancy. How many of you know Anthony Robbins? All are familiar with Anthony Robbins? He too had a mentor, Jim Rohn. How many of you have heard of Jim Rohn? Powerful speaker. And even our very own Indian leader, Mahatma Gandhi, he too had a mentor. His name was Srimad Rajchandran. He was a mystic and a philosopher. And it was because of his teachings and mentorship and guidance to Gandhi brought India to independence. So these famous leaders all had mentors, someone who had personal interest in them, who served as their confidant, and who offered knowledge, insights, and wisdoms, and also an alternative perspective. If you ask them this one question, hey, were you born with these things? Where got such thing? There's no leadership genes in me. My father was never a leader and all that. But it was all through the experience they got from others that helped groom them. They will say that from this period to this period, they had someone to guide them, to mentor them in all the issues that they had. And when it came to another period, someone else would pop out and actually guide them through. So for them, these leaders had mentors guiding them throughout their whole journey. I got my first taste of leadership, or rather mentorship, when I joined the Toastmasters. In my early years, I was hungry for knowledge. I wanted to learn as much as I could. My first mentor, I remember he brought me to McDonald's. He sat me there and he ordered, please order me 1 packet of nuggets. And we sat down there for the whole 2 hours. We went through the Toastmasters International System. He taught me everything that was needed to know in terms of being an EXCO leader, taking up EXCO roles, how to do even the program sheets, what are the things you need to take note of. He patiently sat me down and went through the whole thing with me. I remember the other time was when I wanted to do my first contest speech. I prepared a nice script. Even until now, I still have a habit of preparing scripts. I prepared a nice script, I showed it to him, and he shredded it. He tore it apart. I said, what's happening? What's happening? He said, if you want to win contests, you cannot do what you just did. Let's visit clubs. And because of him, I went around visiting clubs. And that's where I also learned the power of networking. So for the few short months that I had with him was the foundation that made me to be the Toastmaster I am today. My mentor was knowledgeable, supportive, and available. And most of the times, he had my interests in his best concerns. As time progressed, I learned from many other Toastmasters. The senior Toastmasters member, directly or indirectly, they had mentored me. One of the things was maybe because I was bold enough after a while, I had the confidence to go and approach them and ask them, hey, I notice the way you network with people, the way you talk with people, you can always try to enhance them, you can bring them in, you can encourage them with your words. How do you do it? And they will actually share with me. And that's how I went around to different Toastmasters, visiting clubs, talking to the seniors, and learning all those small skills to build myself up. So the question comes, what do you think by now? Is a leader natural leader, or is it a nurtured leader? Is it that you want to become a better leader? You must have this strong why. If this is not strong enough, you will not be driven to do anything. Like what James just mentioned just now, you must hold yourself accountable for all these things. Push yourself forward. And that's where you will learn things. Things will start happening magically for you. If the second alcoholic brother knew his why, had a strong why, probably things would be very different for him. Now, to do all this, we must have the initiative to learn something new. Ask better questions. How can I do this better? And the best person to ask is usually someone who has the experience and is able to guide you. But first, you need to build that relationship with that person. Have an open talk with them, get them to understand you, what is it that you require, and then you start asking them the questions. Once you build that relationship, the doors open, they are more likely to give you constructive criticism. So find that mentor that you are looking for, build a relationship with them, and you will go places. Now, many times people will look for role models. And sorry to break your bubbles or burst your bubble, there are no such thing as role models. Every time when you think someone's there, wow, the perfect person, he has everything, you will find something that will let yourself down. Something in him or something in that person that will not make you happy. So my point to you all is, you create that role model that you want to be. What is this role model supposed to have? Supposed to have the principles of our Toastmasters, RISE, R-I-S-E, respect, integrity, service, excellence. Does this person have all these qualities? And if he does, what makes him tick? And you work towards that. You find a mentor that has that quality, talk to him, become his friend, understand what makes him do better. and you add that into your role model sculpture. Over time, you realize that you are working towards that ideal leadership that you want to build. So in summary, just remember these 4 short words. SWIM. Being a better leader means that you need to swim like a penguin. S for self-learning. W, know your why. I, have initiative. Take that first step and ask. And M, keep an open mind, because your mentors will be able to point out things that sometimes will just not hit you the right way, and you will feel uncomfortable. But that is because they look at it at a different viewpoint. Be open about it, and you will grow. So let me go back to my penguin story. I asked the guide that was with us. She was explaining to us about what these penguins do and all that. I told her, wow, I cannot believe it. Every night, these 3 guys will come up and sacrifice themselves. Just in case got some wild animal running across, they will come and eat them. She said, no. Every night, it's a different penguin. Then I said, wow, how can that be? They take turns. Every night, the other penguins that are waiting in the water, they will learn what that penguin is doing. And next day, one of them will take the initiative to come up and also look out for the rest. What is their why? They need to learn how to look out for all the dangers, because it's not only their survival, but the survival of the whole colony. They need to make sure that the place outside is safe for everybody to come up. That night, my whole idea about being a natural born leader turned upside down. It doesn't exist at all. Everybody can be a leader. You have to cultivate those qualities within yourself. It is through the social environment and not through genes that can actually make you a leader. That night, I learned something from my new mentor, my fairy penguins. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Anand, for the speech. Really showed us that really leadership is something that we can nurture, and it's not something that you have to be born with. And there are no, it's not born leaders, but leaders who are made, who learn and become leaders of the future. So thank you very much. And with that, we have come to the end of today's program. Now is the other segment of the program, which is the networking segment. So there's coffee and vade downstairs. So please go down, have coffee, and please interact with each other. Thank you very much. Thank you.